Greetings, you guys. I'm not gonna waste any time with the whole introduction mumbo jumbo because this could easily be a very long video. This video is all about fall book recommendations plus my fall TBR. I'm gonna start off with the fall recommendations first, and then I'm gonna do my fall TBR last. I'm gonna talk about each book separated by genres. Grab your cup of coffee because it's time. We're gonna start off with fantasy because I feel like fall is very much like fantasy, cozy vibes. When I think of fall season, I think of like literally like how many fantasy books am I gonna read, when new fantasy books are coming out, but also like mystery. I don't know. I'm gonna just start off with fantasy, okay? The first fantasy fall recommendation that I would definitely recommend is Fourth Wing. Like honestly, this whole series so far, people have been raving about this series, and the first time I ever read Fourth Wing was during the fall season. Y'all, these are some thick books, but I'm telling you, it is so good. It is such a good fantasy read. If you are not into fantasy, I highly recommend starting off with Fourth Wing because it's not too much like, well, the thing about fantasy books is like they're so thick because you have to like learn about who are fairies and what kind of magic is taking place in the land and all this kind of stuff, like where are we, what are we doing. So that's why fantasy books can like feel and be long, but I feel like these books are thick, but it's like thick with drama and action and like craziness and dragons and betrayal. If you like that kind of stuff, that trope of like we're going on a quest type trope, you are definitely gonna love this book. It's basically about this girl named Violet Soringale, and she basically is this like fragile small girl who just dreamed of being like a scribe in a scribe quadrant, reading books and like all this kind of stuff. But then like her mom is the general of like the dragon ward or whatever, the dragon's quadrant. And so basically her mom like volunteered her like, no, you're gonna be a dragon rider, so you need to like go and join that little thing, right? So then her whole life changes as she's like this small fragile girl going to train to become a dragon rider, and like this is like life or death stuff. Like a lot of people don't even make it past like day one, okay? I like day one. It's really intense, and like some of these people have been training to become a dragon rider all of their lives. Well, not Violet. Literally she was just like reading books and studying with her father to become a scribe. That was what she wanted to do. So she's not like the fittest, you know? They say it's the survival of the fittest. It literally is. There's so many cadets who want to become a dragon rider, but there aren't many dragons who are willing to bond with cadets. So what do? That's how it becomes very ruthless. Like these cadets want a dragon, but first of all, the dragon has to actually like want you. You can't just like pick one. They have to like pick you, you know? And so it just takes you on this whole journey of like what happened. Like it's just so good. Another like romantasy fantasy type of series that I highly recommend is the Powerless trilogy by Lauren Roberts. I didn't know this, but like Lauren Roberts is basically like TikTok famous. She was like taking her viewers on the journey of her writing this book through TikTok, and so like everybody kind of like knew her from that. It's really good in my opinion. It's basically about ordinaries and elites, and this girl named Peyton is an ordinary who's like posing as an elite. There's this prince named Kai who is basically like the enforcer. His sole purpose in life is to get rid of ordinaries because they feel like, oh, if you're ordinary, you're gonna give us this disease, and then I'm gonna become ordinary, so we might as well get rid of you, because if you're not here, then I won't become ordinary. It's like kind of messed up, but this is the world that they live in. But Peyton is like posing as like she's not ordinary, although she is. And one day Peyton ends up saving Prince Kai's life. The enforcer, the dude who's meant to like unalive her, she saves him. And so when she saves him, now she gets on everyone's radar of like, who is this girl, who is she? And then she gets thrown into the trials. What are the trials called? It's literally called the Persian Trials. The Persian Trials is basically like this brutal competition amongst all of the elites and people who are like literally handpicked to participate in this trial. Basically, the strongest survive, you know, survival of the fittest, you know. If you're thrown into the Persian Trials, you're basically trying to prove to yourself that you are the most elite amongst all of the elite people in this trial. Peyton is ordinary. So an ordinary gets thrown into these Persian Trials against people who actually have like real powers. So it's like, what happens to her? If the people in the trial don't kill her, then maybe the enforcer will, the one who's supposed to kill ordinaries. I mean, I don't know. It sounds a little like interesting. You have to read it. There is a novella, Powerful, very small, very cute. And then there's Reckless, and like recently this year Fearless came out. It's a trilogy plus a novella, so yeah, 10 out of 10, highly recommend. Especially like if you haven't read a lot of fantasy books, that's another good one to get into because it's not very like, it's fantasy but it's not like too overwhelmingly fantasy. It's literally just like people that have powers, like this king and this prince and these people, and like their world, they're toxic. So read it. Highly recommend. Honestly, the fantasy pile is kind of like the biggest pile of the whole thing because fantasy and fall just goes so well together. Another extremely popular fall fantasy romantasy type of series you definitely need to read if you haven't read it already is the ACOTAR series. If you haven't read that series and you've heard about it, you need to go read that series. Like, I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Like, it is so good. There are a lot of well, I say a lot of books. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So far the series have 5 books. I believe Sarah J Maas isn't even done with the series yet. That's what I heard on TikTok, but who knows. Anyway, she's not done and it is so good. Okay, basically the ACOTAR series is about this girl named Farah who is like this human being, just nothing special about her. She's just like a 19-year-old huntress who's starving. And so she goes off in the woods one day trying to find food for her and her family. She runs across a wolf. So she catches the wolf, unalives him, skins him and all this kind of stuff. But then later she finds out that that wasn't just an ordinary basic wolf. It was actually a fairy. And so then another fairy comes from the fairy realm and go to Farah and demand retribution for her killing that wolf, which was not a wolf, it was actually a fairy. They go busting down her door, demanding retribution. And so the only way that Farah was going to save herself and save her life was, the deal basically was like, she needed to go to the fairyland and live amongst those people and serve out the rest of her time, basically. It's like a weird punishment, but just go with it, okay? Because I remember when I read the first book, I was like, how is that even the punishment doesn't fit the crime, in my opinion. Like, oh, you killed my people, so come with me. Like, that's basically what happened. And I remember being like, what? But you have to keep reading. If you read any of these books I've talked about so far and you agree, be sure to hit the like button so that other people can see these books and read them too. Anyway, 10 out of 10. I highly recommend it. It is such a great fall, whimsical, fantasy, loving. Like, I just love the whole series. Like, if I could reread a series, that is the series that I would definitely reread. Like, yeah. It's so good. Moving on, Legendborn series by Tracy Deonn. I don't have the first book with me. I have the second book with me because I just love the spread edges. Like, it looks really cool and it's like really cool. And like the cover is also like really cool. But anyway, Legendborn is basically about this like black, I feel like I need to mention that the main character is a black girl with like curly hair, okay, whose mother just died. She's like 16 years old. Her mom just died, and so she goes off to this school that her mother went to because she kind of wants to like feel closer to her mom. She just wants to like follow in her mother's footsteps and just kind of like see how her mom experienced life too, right? The first night that Bree went to this school, something happened and then this maid like tried to wipe her memory, but when they try to wipe her memory, it didn't work. And that's when that's when Bree realized that why I say Paige? Sorry. That's when Bree realized that, oh my god, like they were trying to wipe my memory. And then she remembered that that same thing that was trying to wipe her memory that time was also at the hospital the day her mom died. So now she's starting to like realize like, oh wait, there's probably more to my mother's death. Like, they were trying to wipe my memory. What if they were trying to wipe something in a way that like they didn't want me to know about how her mom died? When she goes to this school, she infiltrated the Legendborn secret society, whatever, to uncover the death of her mother. But then she discovered far more things than she thought she was going to discover, which I'm not gonna tell you because you need to go read it because this is like literally so good. I'm not gonna lie, very thick book, lots of pages, small font, but really good. Relatable if you are a woman of color, because one scene that I won't forget in this book or in this series was like she was being dragged around in like dirt and stuff, and then they had like a whole chapter in the book talking about how like difficult it was to like wash all the dirt out of her hair. Like her hair is so curly and she's like, oh, it's wash day, you're gonna be in the shower for like hours, and then that's just like washing, you're not even like prepping or styling. I don't know why like I remember that, because I'm like, when you read a fantasy book, how often have you read about people's hair in fantasy books? You never do, right? But as a woman of color, we know that, girl, if it's wash day, you're gonna be washing basically the whole day, okay? Your whole day is gonna be dedicated towards your hair. And I just love how like they were trying to make something so like simple, so relatable, you know what I mean? Like they're trying to make it relatable to people who understand, like you can't just get dragged around in the mud and then wake up the next day and go back to fighting crime. You need to like wash your hair. It's almost like dark academia in a sense, because it's like taking place at the school, secret society and stuff like that, and it's very like magical. The reason why I'll put it like with the fantasy is because it is very like magical. They have like creatures that don't exist and they have names that I can't even pronounce in this book. So it's not like real, obviously, so that's why I put it in like the fantasy category. Anyway, yeah, the Caraval trilogy. These books are so whimsical and very cozy, fast-paced mystery type of book. Maybe it should go in the mystery category because it literally takes you on this journey of like this game. Let me tell you what it's about. It's about these two sisters named Scarlett and Tella, and Scarlett always has this dream of like going to play at the game Caraval, but she's about to get set up in this like arranged marriage that her father is setting up for her. And so before she gets tied down in this arranged marriage, one of her biggest goals is to just like get invited to go to Caraval. Guess what? She finally gets invited to go to Caraval, right? But when she goes to Caraval, the first night of the game, her sister Tella gets kidnapped. And so the whole object of the game for everybody participating, Scarlett and all of the guests, is to find Tella. And then whoever finds Tella gets one wish or something like that at the end of the game. They only have 5 nights to do so. And all throughout the book, even on a synopsis within the book, the front cover, the back cover, everything is like, remember, it's just a game. None of this is real. Everything that's happening in this book and everything that you think you know, you don't know. And isn't that like kind of like cool and mysterious and whimsical? You're like literally going on a quest and trying to find your sister, and so is everyone else in the game. And you just gotta find out, will Scarlett find her sister before someone else does? Like, how is her sister gonna be? What happened? Who kidnapped her? Like, where is she? Like, what happened? Like, that's kind of crazy. And even though these books kind of look a little thick, they are so easily digestible, like very, very fast-paced read. And even though it is kind of thick, the font is also thick. Like, a lot of pages get taken up by like random letters that gets picked up throughout the book. Honestly, I love this book. I definitely need to go get the last one because I know that I'll enjoy it. Magic is taking place. It's not just like, oh, normal everyday people are trying to find this person. It's like every single night of Caraval, something magical is happening. Like something is changing. It's like very like, you don't really know what you're gonna get. But remember, it's only a game. So good. Another very popular fantasy book that I think is kind of cozy and easily digestible is The House in the Cerulean Sea. Definitely one of my 5-star reads of the year. It's about this caseworker named Rene who is like 40 years old, kind of have a boring life. All he does is just like go to work and go home. No life, no friends, no lover, no nothing. I think he has like a cat, maybe a dog. He has some sort of animal, but he's basically like a loner, right? He gets summoned on this like highly sensitive, highly classified case where he needs to go to this like orphanage of like magical children. So Linus gets summoned to go to this orphanage just to make sure everything is okay, just to make sure like the person in charge of the orphanage isn't like taking advantage of the funds being sent, and like, I don't know, these kids are like apparently like so dangerous that they might actually like end the world. And so he needs to go and see if everything is okay. Magical children with powers, okay? But when he goes to this orphanage, everything literally changes. Like his whole life changes, and you need to read. It is so good. It literally teaches you about people and children, like how people think, and just like the innocence of like childhood. That's another good whimsical type of book. If you read them, like the video. Let's move on. The next category we're going to talk about is the romance category. If you are a romance girly or a romance person who like romance novels, then these are some of the coziest romance novels to read. Y'all, first things first, The 7-Year Slip. The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. This is like literally a classic. Like, if you have not read this book, you need to put everything down right now, get on Amazon and go order it right now. Look at the cover. Like, it is literally like fall themed. They have leaves, it's orange and yellow, and like, yeah. So basically the 7-Year Slip is about this girl named Clementine who moved into her aunt's house. So when she moved into her aunt's house, she finds this strange man standing in the kitchen. It's already sounding like kind of weird and crazy, but keep up with me. This man has kind eyes and a southern drawl, and he like makes lemon pies and stuff like that. And he's the type of man who she would fall head over heels for, in love with, right? Except he exists in the past. He is 7 years in the past, the 7-Year Slip, and she is 7 years in his future. When she steps into her aunt's apartment, she kind of like slips into this like 7-year gap, which is kind of interesting, right? Her aunt also said that love is never a matter of time, but a matter of timing. And Clementine fears that she may be 7 years too late, because remember, this guy is 7 years in the past, she's 7 years in the future. So like, what? Very whimsical, very fast-paced read, cozy atmosphere. The love in here is just so cute. People read it all the time, especially in the fall. So 10 out of 10 recommend. And another book by the same author, The Dead romantics. This book is giving like, you should read this mostly towards like October season because it's literally about like dead people. So anyway, it's basically about this girl named Florence. She's a ghostwriter. So her dad ends up dying, rest in peace. And so for the first time in like 10 years or whatever, she finally has to go back home to like bury her father and stuff. But when she goes home, she finds a ghost standing at the front door of the funeral parlor, okay? And guess what? This ghost is infuriatingly handsome.
Okay.
That part is important. And he's just as confused about why he's there as she is. It says, romance is most certainly dead. Aren't you a little curious as to like, how does the dynamic with this ghost work out? Like, what do they talk about? And like, why is he there? And like, what's going on? Like, I don't know. Stuff like that makes me like very, very curious and interested. That's just me. I don't know if that's you. It's a like pretty short, quick book. You'll get through it very, very quickly. Like, it's so easily digestible. It's like a fast-paced fall romance read. Okay, that kind of wraps up all of my fall recommendations. The next set of this video is all about my fall TBR. I still feel like these books that I'm about to talk about in my fall TBR are still fall recommendations because I bought these books specifically for the fall vibes, but I didn't want to like recommend them because I haven't read them from cover to cover yet, so I don't want to be like, oh, you're gonna love this if I haven't even read it myself. So it's on my fall TBR and I'm going to talk about my fall TBR right now. If you don't care to know my fall TBR, then this is where the video will end for you. Thank you for watching to this point. But if you do want to know more fall recommendations and / or my fall TBR, then let's get into it. Now, some of you might be mad at me. I already know some of you might be mad at me from what I'm about to say. But one of the fantasy books that I really want to read, fantasy series that I must read this season is the Throne of Glass series. It's a very, very long series. One of Sarah J. Maas's most popular series like ever. I'm showing the Assassin's Blade because this is like a huge debate, like which book to read first. Do you start off with the Throne of Glass book or do you start off with the Assassin's Blade book? Basically, the Assassin's Blade is like a prequel to the Throne of Glass, but the whole debate is like, the whole reason why people don't know which book to read first is because this book wasn't written first. Throne of Glass was. Throne of Glass was written and then this book came out like after like the 4th or 5th book. I could be completely wrong. I just know that this book did not come out first, but this book was the prequel to the first book. So which book should you read? Should you read it in the order that she created the books, or should you read it in the order of the storyline? It's like Marvel movies. Like, do you watch the Marvel movies in the timeline order, or do you watch it in the order that it was produced? You know what I'm saying? Because Captain Marvel came out way later, but apparently that's one of the first few movies in the timeline order. It's the same thing with this. It's like, this came out later, but this was supposed to come first. So if you have read the Throne of Glass series, comment down below, did you read the Assassin's Blade first or Throne of Glass first? And if you read the whole series, which book do you recommend starting with? Because we were reading this in my book club and a lot of people were either reading this one or Throne of Glass. It kind of got confusing. I didn't know who was reading what. I don't even know which one. I was reading kind of both of them at the same time. I was like, what am I doing? So I kind of like put this on pause and I'm gonna go back to it, but I think I'm gonna start with this one first. I already kind of read a little bit of it, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was a few chapters in before I was like, wait, I could be spoiling some things. But then when I started reading Throne of Glass, I was like, wait, I don't know what's going on. So that's why I feel like I need to start with this one. But let me know in the comments down below what are your thoughts on the whole series is. I know a lot of you have already read it, especially if you're like a fantasy person. But this is on my TBR for sure, for sure. Another fantasy book that I want to read is The Serpent and the Wings of Night. Basically, this girl was adopted by a vampire king, and her only way of like not becoming like vampire food is to like join this tournament. Basically to prove herself, like, I'm not just like food. So she enters into this legendary tournament that is held by the goddess of death herself. She has to compete among some of the most vicious warriors in the land. In order for her to survive, she forms this like alliance with this other vampire who just so happens to be her like father's like rival or something like that. But she finds herself attracted to this guy, even though this guy is trying to like dethrone her father, her adopted father. She's attracted to him still. Talk about betrayal. But also, if it's love and it's meant to be, it will be. But anyway, there is no time for love. This girl is literally in a competition with some of the most vicious people. They do not care who likes who and who's cute and who's not cute. You know what I'm saying? It's like, can you survive? Will you live through this actually? Like, that should be where your head is. But we know how books go. So anyway, as she goes through this like competition and this war and stuff like that, she starts to uncover things that she never knew about her whole like life. And this guy, her rival or whatever, understands her more than anyone. But their attraction could be her downfall. Let's read it. It just seems a little bit too interesting for me. Have you guys read any books by Tessandra Odette? This is called Curse of the Wolf King. This is basically a Beauty and the Beast retelling entangled with fairies. That sounds very interesting to me. So basically it's like the same thing of Beauty and the Beast, but like make a fairy version. So if you've ever read or watched Beauty and the Beast, then you know how that the overall plot of how that goes. Like this man who was a prince was like cruel and evil. He got turned into a beast by this witch who was like asking for shelter on one rainy cold night or something like that. Him and all his people like laughed in this witch's face, and so she cursed everybody in the house, including the prince, and was like, y'all are gonna become like furniture. Sorry, I don't know why that's like funny to me, but y'all are gonna become furniture and like chairs and tables and glass cups and stuff like that, and you're gonna be this hideous beast, and you're gonna remain this way until the last rose petal falls. When the last rose petal falls, you're stuck like this forever, okay? Unless true love's kiss or something like that, you know? That's kind of how I imagine Beauty and the Beast went. So basically this is like the fairy version of that, which seems interesting. Like I'm very curious as to see how they retold the same classic story but made it about like the fairy king. Aren't you a little bit interested? I am. So on the list. Sticking with fantasy, I definitely need to read Bloodmarked. I talked about this, the first book, in like the beginning, the fall book recommendations portion, where like Bree's mom died. Bree joins, infiltrates the Legend Boy secret society. She tries to find out what happened to her mother. She finds out some crazy things. She discovered more about herself than she knew. And so the way that first book ended was like one of the biggest like cliffhangers I've ever read. And so I went to immediately go buy this book, and guess what? Didn't even read it. So now I need to read it. I need to know like what happens. And then the third book came out literally this year, so now I'm like 2 books behind when I didn't have to be. So anyway, I'm definitely gonna be reading this book this season. Let's move on to romance. Really only have like 1 book in this category for some reason. Interesting. You Again by Kate Goldbeck. I bought this book last fall as well. Or was it 2 falls ago? Literally, I think I bought this book 2 falls ago. I probably got like 75% through this book, and then I DNF'd it. I never got to the end because I felt like it kept like spinning. But I just love the cover. Like it's very much like a beautiful fall cover from front to back sideways. I love all the leaves. It's based in New York, and it's basically like enemies to friends to lovers, I think. Yeah, it's like literally the first one is like when Ari and Josh first meet, the wrong kind of sparks fly. They hate each other instantly. Ari is like a struggling comedian, very free-spirited, and Josh is like a New Yorker who has ambitious plans with the culinary world. He wants to like be the culinary king basically, and my camera overheated. So let me get back to it before it does it again. They ended up like dating the same person, the same girl, and then they became friends through that, and then they became friends without benefits, and then they found comfort within each other, and then they had like sizzling chemistry. I stopped reading it because I was like, it just kept spinning at a certain point, but I kind of want to finish it so I can like at least know, okay? Another book that I definitely want to read is If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. This is like a classic dark academia novel. This guy named Oliver was released from jail, and the man who put him there was waiting at the door, this detective, and he wants to know the truth after 10 years. So Oliver is finally ready to tell the truth about what happened 10 years later. So 10 years ago, Oliver is one of the 7 young Shakespearean actors at this classical conservatory, dark academia. In this secluded world, Oliver and his friends play the same roles on stage and off stage: the hero, the villain, the tyrant, and the temptress, the ingenue, and an extra. Who's the extra? I'm curious. But in their 4th and final year, so senior year, their rivalries turn ugly, and on opening night, real violence invades the students' world of make-believe. In the morning, the 4th years find themselves facing their very own tragedy and their greatest acting challenge yet: convincing the police, each other, and themselves that they are innocent. If We Were Villains. Have you read it? This has been on my TBR literally for years. It's time I read it, right? I know. Frederick Bachman's Anxious People. This became like a Netflix series apparently. Basically it's like this robber takes a group of like 8 strangers hostage at this house. Like they're going to like tour this house, and then like this person came and like held them all hostage. Each of these people have like lifetime of grievances, hurts, secrets, and passions that they're ready to boil over. None of them are entirely who they appear to be, apparently. They are the worst group of hostages in the world. But as the minutes tick by, they begin to suspect that the criminal holding them hostage might be more in need of rescuing than they are. And I'm just like curious about that. Like, how do they discover that? What happens? Like, what's going on? It says, as the authorities and the media surround the premises of the house, these reluctant allies will reveal surprising truths about themselves and set in motion a chain of events so unexpected that even they can hardly explain what happens next. What happens next? I'm curious. It's on the list of books to read. Kristen Hanna's The Nightingale. Basically, first of all, look at these sprayed edges. It's giving like old school, you know. Kristen Hanna is like the queen of like historical fiction, and I just love the sprayed edges. The Nightingale tells the story of two sisters separated by years and experience, by ideals, passion, and circumstances, each embarking on their own dangerous path towards survival, love, and freedom in the German-occupied, war-torn France of World War II. A heartbreakingly beautiful novel that celebrates the resilience of the human spirit and the durability of women. It is a novel for everyone, a novel for a lifetime. I need to read a book by her. This will be my first novel by her, so I'm so excited and super curious as to what happens. So it's definitely on the list of books to read. The Inheritance Games. It's just time. Is this book cozy to y'all if you've read it? If someone came up to you on the streets and said, I'm looking for a fall book recommendation, what do you recommend? What would you say?